Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca Caunday-Jacobsen and I'm going to be doing my presentation today on grad schools and pretty much what do grad schools offer, what are expectations, and pretty much everything that you need to know about certain grad schools here in our area in Washington. So what is specialization? Specialization is a noun and it is defined as the following. It is the process of concentrating on and becoming an expert in a particular subject or skills. So, after you decide what you want to specialize in, really you have to decide what career you want to go into. So, there's a lot of options you can decide. For example, if you wanted to become a psychologist, there's a lot of different specializations that you can focus on. Like, for example, addiction, behavioral neuroscience, educational forensic, experiment, media, military, the list goes on. Another career option is being a counselor. Depending on what you want to specialize in is what you'd be. For example, you can be a child, college, domestic violence, marriage and family, mental health, rehabilitation. Another career option is being a social worker. Most people think of just the one type of social worker that you see with like child services, but there is different types. There's ones for geriatric, for hospice care, for school, clinical, and even corrections. It's not just focused to what we are typically used to. So, once you've realized or figured out what you want to specialize in, this is where you're going to have to start doing some research on, first of all, what program is best suited for your career and that's going to help you achieve your goal of becoming whatever it is you want to be. That is my best advice I can give you, because I've actually worked with a career counselor where I used to be an assistant for the VA, and I used to actually help soldiers after I got out just which programs to apply to that would best help them get into the careers that they want. So, best advice I have is go out there and look into like job search or monster.com and look at jobs and research the job you want to do and look at what they're asking for and what degrees they're asking, because you don't want to be wasting your time going into a program and it's not going to help you get that career. So, for example, there is a lot of programs in graduate school. So you need to be very careful and research, because also too, not every school offers every graduate program. So, I have a list here on this next slide. This is only some of the programs, remember. Some. And I'm going to name off a few that are here on the slide. Behavioral neuroscience, clinical psychology, social and personality, experimental psychology, mental health counseling, counselor education for the mental health, and school education. So these are only some of the programs that are offered. And just keep in mind that, depending on what school you go to, they might offer something that you're looking for. For me, I have two programs or routes I can go. Because like I told you, I want to go into forensic psychology. I can either specialize in forensic psychology in my master's and my PhD program. But there's only a few schools that offer those programs, and they're all on the East Coast. Well, I'm here on the West Coast, so I've had to look into something different. And so I looked into the career, and I looked in the job searches, and I found that you can be specialized in forensic psychology or clinical psychology. So I have an option of two routes of which programs I want to go. And due to my geolocation, I can actually do clinical psychology. So remember, when you are looking for which program you want to go into, first look at what job you need or what the job requires. So like I said before, I only researched a few, like 3 schools here in Washington, and it was more so depending on how they're ranked and where they're located to myself. and where my family might be moving. So when I was I looked into 3 schools. I looked into Eastern Washington University, University of Washington, and Central Washington University, into their graduate programs to see what they offer. And I noticed each of them offered different things. So the first school that I researched was Eastern Washington University, and it offered, and it's here on the slide, it offered clinical psychology, experimental psychology, counselor education, mental health, and counselor education for school counseling. So that is what this school offered. Another school that I researched, their programs, was University of Washington, and they offer a little bit more programs compared to the rest. And like I said on the slide here, you'll see they offer animal behavior, behavioral neuroscience, clinical psychology, cognitive and perception, developmental, social and personality, and quantitative psychology. So they have a little wider range of programs. And the last school that I researched was Central Washington University. And they have 4 programs that they offer. They offer experimental psychology, applied behavioral analysis, mental health counseling, and school of psychology. So, after comparing these 3 schools, they all offer similar or the same programs, and some of them offer different programs. For me, because I have an option of taking clinical psychology, I started focusing, after I've done my research here with these 3, I noticed that I started focusing my research more towards EWU and UW. After some further research with Eastern Washington University and University of Washington, both schools are accredited through the American Psychology Association and also by the standards of Washington State. So I've done a little bit more research on both schools about their clinical psychology program. First one I'm going to focus on is Eastern Washington University, or EWU. After researching it, I found out that the program is estimated about 2 years. And that's with constant, without messing up or doing anything, it just continuing on straight. And as I was researching through it, you'll see here on the slide what its caseload looks like. It does have a basic standard course requirements. And then also too, depending on, like I said, because EWU does offer other programs, they are going to require certain classes for those programs. So you might have a basic core class for just the whole master's in psychology, but you're going to have additional work that focuses just on what you're trying to specialize in. So, like for me, for instance, I'm going to be focusing more on clinical psychology. So once I'm done with my basic core classes, I'm going to start focusing I have so many classes that I have to take that require more in-depth research and studies of clinical psychology. And most of them do require different works and studies and research that you have to do while in your program. This is also something that you'll have to do anyways. In whatever program you do, you will have to do additional research and studies for it. So yeah, as for UW's program, it's different than EWU's program due to one major thing that I was actually kind of shocked by, and I actually went and talked with the school because it shocked me, was UW does not have just a master's program. It's actually a combined program. So it's the master's, your master's, and your PhD are all one. So compared to EWU, where it's one, like it might take 2 years to complete for just the program, it's combined. So you're going to add your master's time and your PhD time into one bracket, And it's actually going to be, it takes about, on average, 7 years is what it says. But this is just for clinical. Let's say, for example, you go into one of the other programs, it might take less time. But like I said, you have to come and research it. And when it comes to their curriculum, it is different. Because in the first year of your program, you're just focusing on the master's part of it, and that's it. And so, like I said, I printed out this manual, and it does go over, and I will include that on the slide. And it goes over pretty much in this manual. It breaks down everything that you're going to do in your program. So pretty much your first year, you're going to be focusing mostly on your core classes and your requirements. And then once after you're done with that, that's when you start breaking off into your individual program. And that gets more in depth into research and more time consuming, just like any other program you take. So so pretty much I've gone over what is in the program, but what can we do to prepare ourselves for these programs? Right now is our best opportunity. Because remember, in our program, we are required to do some research time. At least 10 hours is required. So this is that opportunity that we really should take advantage of. For example, if you get an opportunity to do research, take it. But more so, make sure that it's more focused on what you're going to be doing. Like for me, because I'm focusing more on the clinical side, I would be more focused on finding research opportunities that deal in a clinical setting or behaviors. And you know what? Our school offers a lot of research programs. And even if you look at CW's website about undergraduate research, there's a lot of opportunities there. But sometimes our best tools is not that site, but our professors that you will be working with. And over time, as you work with them, and especially if you have one professor that you just like and get along with, it doesn't hurt to always ask to be like, hey, is there an opportunity that I can participate or help you on a research? And by using these research tools and doing this now, it's going to help you when it gets into the program, because when you do apply for your graduate's program, they're going to ask, what have you done? And what kind of research have you participated in? And showing that you've participated in this stuff is going to help you, because it shows that you're being serious, especially for, depending on which programs you're going into. Like, for example, when I do officially apply for UW, by having research or showing that I've done this research, it shows that I've been working with, or that I'm really goal oriented, and that I really am trying to better myself through hands-on education or hands-on experiences. So for the curriculum that you would be doing your program, I'm going to focus on one of the programs, and I'm going to use UW's program, because that's more of the one that I'm actually kind of looking towards, and I wanted to show you guys because it is unique. And you'll see here in a minute, pretty much like as you see on your slide, it focuses on, like, it'll break it down by when you'll be taking it. So in the first year, it shows what classes you're going to be taking, and some of the classes you might be taking are the psychology orientation that you have to take the first quarter, and then you have your pro seminar that is also done within your first year, and then issues in psychology is another one. That's just one I'm reading off. Intro into statistics and data analyze. Then also your lab. You have a few labs there, and also you do have more research methods in clinical and community psychology. And then also you have a class that is in the core concepts of it. So And then also too, it gets into further after like you're completed with your first year. Um, it starts going into minority mental health, um, clinical personality assessments, methods for interviews, methods for ethics, clinical supervision, um, and then also you'll start, as you get further in the program, you're actually going to start doing your like doing one-on-one. You might be teaching, or you might be actually working on research, or in somehow or some cases you actually might be working in a clinic. And that's the difference between this program and the master's program at EW, is that this one, yes, you are getting more hands-on, and it's actually prepping you for your PhD to be certified and get all your certificates and your credentials and all your license. So that's the differences between the programs. One thing to remember about when you're in a graduate program is that you are required to maintain a certain GPA at all times. It's pretty much, it's similar to what we're kind of dealing with now. But the difference is that for example, UW, they require you to have a 2.7 or at least get a grade no less than 2.7. So you're talking about at least a B minus at all times. That's not bad. But the overall GPA that you must maintain in order to graduate is a 3.0. So they're talking about at least a B average. Also, too, remember is this: it might not seem like a lot of credits that you're getting, because like I said, I'm using the UWs because it's so detailed. It has 36, in total you're going to have 36 credits. But remember is this: a lot of these classes are either satisfactory or unsatisfactory. So you are doing a lot of classes, but you're not going to get like a traditional grade. So you also have to take account for that, let alone the fact of number of seminars you're going to have to attend, and also research time, teaching time you may do. So you're going to be doing that as well. When it comes to the caseload that you're going to be dealing with in a graduate program, in UW's example, it's a little different because within your first year, it's more like the traditional university style, that you're going to be in more seminars and classes, and you're going to be, like I said, like the traditional student. But after that first year is when it's going to start changing. You're going to start actually doing more in the class. You're not going to be doing more in the class, but you're actually be kind of slowly transitioning from the student to the teacher, and you will be teaching some of the classes. Yes, graduate school, in the end goal, is going to help us get either our master's or our PhD and help us get into the career we want. But the main thing that we need to focus on right now is what we're doing in school now. Like, for example, our GPA is very important because depending on what school you go to, normally in order to even be looked at, you have to have a certain GPA. EWU requires that you have a 3.0 to be accepted, but they are willing to use like waivers depending on your GRE scores and other testings that they require. As for UW, they actually only require 2.7 to be accepted into the program. Also, too, is you have to have letter recommendations. So this is the time now while we're in our bachelor's programs that we should be making connections with not just people who were fellow students, but more so our professors. They will help us in the process. And also, too, just because they are not our advisor doesn't mean that they can't be a mentor for us. And also, too, by having them, like if you make a great connection with a professor, you might use that professor later on as a letter of recommendation when you're applying to your graduate program. Most of them will give you a letter of recommendation. So keep that in mind as you're getting ready to apply for your graduate program. So thank you for watching my presentation.